What's going on, Philadelphia? It's Quinn. We're back, baby. I'm back from Portugal. We're excited. I'm tan. I'm a little fatter, but I'm tan. I feel good. Tahir, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good. How was your trip?
It was good. Dude, I've never been to Europe before. It's like, it's unbelievable how gorgeous it is out there, and also, like, nothing makes sense in terms of, like, there's all these little random alleys and stuff, and then, like, I went to, so I'm in Portugal, and I'm in this town called Porto, and on the river, like, both sides of the river, they have all this stuff built up, all these, like, nice places. They're also old as hell, you know what I mean? It's all old architecture, but, like, there's just random dilapidated buildings next to, like, the most gorgeous building you've ever seen, and it's, like, all over the place. Like, the whole thing doesn't make any sense, but it's also, like, completely beautiful at the same time. I loved it, dude. Loved it.
So now I'm going to have to take a trip over there.
Yeah, it's worth it. Dude, seriously. I mean, for Portugal, I heard it was like when I was there, I heard that, like, this is a trendy place that a lot of people go to, especially in the UK. And I totally get it. It was unreal. I met people from all over the world. I made friends with random Australians when I was out there.
Nice.
And I realized how much an addict I am for all this stuff, because, like, we went on this tour one day. We're doing, like, a wine country, like, taste some Porto port wines and whatever. And I'm like, all right, this is cool. So as we're doing it, like, we took a sip of one of them, and my instinct was to say, "Go Birds." And I was like, okay, I've got a problem.
Can't take the Philadelphia out the man. People.
No, I wanted to say it all the time. I had like 8 situations. So like every day there was one moment where I had this instinct. I was like, I really want to say "Go Birds" here, but nobody knows what I'm
But see, that's a fail on your behalf, because you should have acted on that instinct. You know how many people that I just randomly go by and they see me, they just go Birds. I'm like, hey, go Birds.
Yeah, man.
You got to do it, man. We're international. You got to understand that.
We are. And shout out to Zach Bryan, who had Daniel Jones on stage with him in New York. This guy's running a concert in New York. Daniel Jones is literally sharing the microphone with him. And he just, as Daniel Jones backs away, goes, "Yeah, go Birds!" Like, it was to drop that with Daniel Jones was so good. So Zach Bryan, diehard Eagles fan, and now I'm just gonna say diehard fan of the show. Clearly, I mean, we always knew he was listening this whole time.
Oh, easily, and then to give Daniel Jones nightmares again before the season even starts. I mean, just phenomenal.
Love it. I love everything about it. So yeah, it's good to be back. And you look at, like, a lot of Eagles stuff. There's not a lot of crazy things with the Eagles themselves, but I did notice something that was going on around the league that really makes you stop and think, like, wow, there are so many ways that really bad teams find ways to lose in the offseason.
Oh, jeez.
And well, in this case, actually, it's 2 good teams. But, like, there's so many different ways that we kind of talk about it when we talk about the Eagles, like culture and fit and all these kinds of things, like the philosophy. But, man, I mean, Tyreek Hill punched somebody again. And like, the first time, it's a domestic abuse incident. It's really ugly. You see the whole tape. The whole thing happens. He's out of the league for a little bit, like all of that. This time, the situation's bizarre. So supposedly this happens because he wanted to fish on a dock in Miami.
Okay.
Now, there's 2 different versions of the story. One is, this is the version that some reporter put out in the Miami area, which was basically 2 women that were with Tyreek Hill sat on a boat that wasn't his, and that led to an argument, and then he hit the guy, like slapped him in the back of the head.
Jeez.
And eventually, a couple days later, they decided to call the police on it, and now they're pressing charges. So that's one version. The other version is, and I don't know if with any of this stuff. Obviously, we weren't there. We haven't seen the tape. I don't know shit. But this story is fascinating, which is, according to the official police report, which was filled out by the people who were in the incident, called the police. They said he boarded the boat without the owner's permission and then said, quote, "I can buy you and the boat." And he also said, "I'm number 10 on the Miami Dolphins."
Okay, if he really did say that, he has to be one of the most idiotic people I have ever come across in my life. Because first off, to even commit a crime and to walk on somebody else's boat that's not your own is one thing. But then to engage in the act of a crime and then put yourself out there. Like, I'm not advocating for crimes or anything like that, but don't be a jackass and just put your whole image out there. That's just dumb.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yes, this is me, Tyreek Hill. My social security number is this, and my address is this. Please send me to jail. Like, I don't know. The whole thing is so dumb. So he does that, and it's one of those things where with Tyreek Hill, like, this is the problem of Tyreek Hill. He's one of the greatest players you'll ever see. I mean, one of the greatest deep threats in the history of the league.
Easily.
And he was a monster on the Dolphins last season.
Oh my
but, like,
gosh.
who knows if he's going to miss games because of this?
It's It's a shame. It really is, because such a talented player. But this is the reason why he fell to the 5th round in the first place. It was because some of those issues coming out of college. And unfortunately, now they're starting to pop up in the NFL. And like you just said, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's unnecessary for you to put yourself in those positions. But in the same way, it makes me feel grateful. Because it's funny, because we come in here and we talk about how boring it is of an offseason is for the Philadelphia Eagles. We take that for granted, I think, a little bit too much because of situations like this. We don't have to deal with players punching other people out and putting themselves out there. I'm just saying, I'm perfectly fine with boring.
Yeah, boring is good. Boring is everybody thinks the team is great. Nothing terrible is happening off the field.
Yep.
We're good. We're just waiting for the season.
Yep, pretty much. And that's it feels so nice as a fan to not have to worry about, all right, what is this jackass going to do this offseason? Like, I don't have to worry about those guys. We have excellent veterans that keeps the young guys in check, lets them know what to do, where to go, what to do. Excellent. It's excellent. I have no complaints whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, remember when, like, Nigel Bradham punched a pool boy? It was like, come on, man.
Damn it.
Yeah.
And at the time, that was our best linebacker, so that was a jackass moment.
Yeah, and then was he the guy also that had a gun and going through airport security?
Yes.
How many NFL players need to go? A guy for the Patriots just did that.
He went. I remember when Nigel Bradham also went missing for like a good. How long was it? 10 days?
Yeah. Oh my God.
That was ridiculous.
So you're not worrying about this stuff. Like that's the kind of things you look at this team, you go, yeah, it is boring, like we're talking about, but like everybody's accounted for. Everybody is ready to play, all things considered. Like we're just waiting. There's no catastrophic hole on the team that, oh my God, what are we going to do? Oh my God, we haven't replaced Quez Watkins. It's like, so who cares? Everything's really good, so you love all of that. And then here was the other guy too. So like when you're thinking about all these players and causing problems and how that can lead into the season, all this Stephon Diggs stuff is a little weird, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very ominous.
Yeah, I mean, like he showed. So if you missed this, by the way, so the whole idea is he doesn't show up to the first day of like mini camps in Buffalo. Sean McDermott's like, yeah, we expected him to be here, and then he's not there, and then he shows up like a day later, and he's like, yeah, we were always expecting him to be here, and it's like, wait, what do you mean? Like you made this big stink yesterday, and then you're acting like nothing happened the next day, so something's weird there, and then Diggs keeps putting out all these like weird, ominous messages. The last one was something to the effect of, if you don't feed their dogs, they'll put you on the menu. So I don't know if that's like a Bills issue. There's an RG3 thing where the conspiracy. So here's the RG3 conspiracy, if you haven't heard this, Tyre. So the whole idea is RG3 shares an agent with Stephon Diggs. Diggs might have an issue with Josh Allen, and that's what he's talking about, because with the final playoff game, he doesn't get targeted late in the game as they're down. He gets really upset about that, and that's carried over through the whole offseason. Now, little bit of a stretch to me, but the whole thing is like, Eagles players aren't frustrated all the time like this, and the only guy that was frustrated was Miles Sanders, who isn't worth a damn anyway, got overpaid in Carolina and complained still.
Pretty much.
So yeah, I mean, they have the right people. Like, all of this is to say, just again, like, they have the right people everywhere that you need the right people, and to be this kind of boring is good. Like, here's one last level to all this stuff, because you're thinking about ways like how this can derail a team before you even get started. You see that Cardinals report card a couple months ago?
I did.
It's 31st out of 32nd by the NFL Players Association.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, brutal. And one of the things was Cardinals players have to pay for the food that they eat at the cafeteria.
Wait a minute, what?
Yes.
That's the stupidest thing I think of. Wait a minute, you mean to tell me you're a whole professional NFL franchise who makes billions of dollars every year, and you can't afford to feed your players? That's a little. Oh, come on.
Yep. It's like you're. What's Kyler Murray's contract? Like $180 million or something? Like, come on.
You're paying him to sit on the couch and play video games all day long. Like, come on now. I think you can at least afford to feed your players.
You'd think, but like, that's the kind of stuff that people are miserable. They don't trust ownership. They don't believe in the team, really. They're going through the motions, and stuff falls apart. So like, you see that. You see Tyreek Hill and off the field incidents. You see Stephon Diggs and like internal friction about contracts and all that kind of stuff. Like, everybody on the Eagles is paid. This core is locked up. All these guys are here. There's no doubt about it. Like, everybody feels good, and they're paid for most of these guys. They're paid at the top of their position, and they're paid fairly. I think A.J. Brown is a crazy discount, but you know, he got a lot more than what he was going to get in Tennessee, so you take it for what it is. So, like, all of that stuff makes me feel great. Now, with that being said, because we did just mention the Cardinals here, can you get into Florio a little bit for me?
Ooh, boy. Okay, so this is real juicy. All right, so Mike Florio, he must have some sort of inside source, or he has more information that he can't put out, which is so odd because he keeps tracking this Arizona Cardinals, Jonathan Gannon, and Philadelphia Eagles situation. And listen, I'm one of those people about the Super Bowl. I'm like, look, we lost. Let's just let it go. I was pointing fingers at the defense, but still. But it's interesting that Mike Florio just came out with a column, and he talks about how apparently it's evidence that the Arizona Cardinals tampered with Jonathan Gannon during the course of the Super Bowl. He has evidence.
Well, and it's not just that, because you get the admission in terms of the draft pick, but if I have this correct, he's talking about a class action lawsuit for gamblers, which that's insane.
To the point, yes, that there's a lawsuit coming. And I'm just sitting there going, oh my gosh. I honestly thought that Jonathan Gannon, I thought the defense was at fault. I did, because when you give up 3 straight touchdowns on the same concept, that's a problem, and you don't recover from it. I have a big issue with that. However, seeing this information now I'm like, I'm even more pissed off at Jonathan Gannon. I'm livid at this point with him and the Arizona Cardinals. I hope, they will do horrible, but I hope Jonathan Gannon just becomes like the absolute worst coach of all time in the NFL history. That's how much hatred I have. I hate the Arizona Cardinals now because you screwed up my second ring. I hate Jonathan Gannon even more.
Yeah, I mean, the hate's going to keep piling up, and it's like, because here's the thing for me that stands out so much is like Florio goes after Howie in that interview.
Yes.
A couple of weeks ago. So he keeps going and going and going, and Howie's like, listen, man, I was asked and answered. I don't know why you keep asking me about this. Like, let's move on.
That's okay, Howie, by the way.
It's okay. I do it a lot. It's like a 4 out of 10. I'm going to keep working on it. But he keeps doing that. Howie says no. He brushes the whole thing off. Now here we are a couple of weeks later, and like Florio's background is he is an attorney. Like, he is a lawyer. He's always brought in things when it comes to union negotiations and stuff like that. He's always got pretty good insight to those things. So for him, he's throwing shit at the wall a little bit with like, hey, let's get a class action lawsuit together based on this. But like, clearly the grounds of this were so egregious that it's not just a draft pick that gets traded on draft night, but he thinks there's something. I don't know what he knows, but he thinks that this is significant enough to literally, I mean, that's the kind of thing that could tank the NFL.
It feeds into the mystery of the entire situation, and it just gets more dicier and dicier the more information that comes out. Like we said earlier, Mike Florio knows something. He just needs the evidence to really put a column out there about it. He knows a whole lot more than what's being put out currently and what everybody else knows right now.
Yeah, and I want to be honest. I want the tea. I want the tea.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm bored. I said I was bored. Let's go. Bring the tea.
Come on, Mike. Get on it. Get on it and come on, Bell and the Birdmen.
Do your job.
Yeah, geez. So, okay, so let's, as much as, I wish John was here for the conspiracy theories, he's not, so we'll get him in the Discord and we'll hear from him there on it. But here's the last thing I wanted to get into, because this was pretty funny. So, just on a personal note, so like I'm getting ready to go to vacation. I get to the airport, and as soon as I get to the airport, I find out that my sister, who's been pregnant, is going into labor, is going to have the baby.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And it was cool because one of the things was that she was very old school about this, where she was like, I don't want to know what it is. I don't want to know, boy, girl. I don't want to know. And which killed my brother-in-law, who was constantly like, hey, so when we have the boy, and she's like, no, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not telling you. I'm not, like, I don't want to know. It's not happening. So they go through all this stuff. They end up having a kid. It turns out it is a boy. But the problem is they didn't agree on a name to it. So they had to figure it out on the spot, which is a funny story for me that we can get into for another time on how I got named. But it's for another day. But what happened was they decided, okay, we don't have a boy's name that we really like. Let's go through NFL rosters. This is what I swear to God, in the hospital. Yes, just a couple of days ago in the hospital, they were just scrolling through NFL rosters and reading off players' names. Like, my sister I'm an Eagles nut. So, like, there's very few people that are on this level, especially in my family. So she's not like that. But they did look at the Eagles roster, and my nephew is named after Jason Kelsey.
It's named after a future Hall of Famer, which we'll get into another time.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was crazy.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. It was just so funny to be like, they just went through and they're like, Jason? Yeah, I like Jason. Okay, let's do it. And like that was it.
Nice.
He suddenly named Jason Kelsey. So congratulations, Jason Kelsey. You have a nephew in the North Jersey area now. And we're basically family, Jason Kelsey. So welcome to the family. But like I always find that kind of stuff fascinating because when you think about like Philly sports fans, that is such a common thing.
It's way too more common than I think people realize. Matter of fact, I have a story for you.
No way.
I have a story for you.
Okay.
My 7-week-old daughter, who is named Sophia. Me and my wife, we initially agreed on the name Sophia. Now, I was very particular with the names. My wife was coming up with the names, but I'm very particular. So a lot of the names she was presenting, I was like, no. So by the time the season, we were good into the season, Sophia was the name. We agreed upon it. We was like, okay, this is the name. Boom. The Eagles were doing so good that my wife was like, you know what, Tyre? I have a bet for you. I'm like, all right, what's the bet? You know, every once in a while I place a good bet. Sure. What's the bet? She's like, if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, we should name our daughter Jalen. And I was just like, now I'm in a conundrum because at the same time, like I love the name Sophia. It grew on me. It goes perfectly with her middle name. It flowed excellently. So I was fine with it. And then my wife presents me with this scenario, and I'm just like, the Eagles ain't going to the Super Bowl. I ain't got to worry about this bet. We got to the 49ers game, and they started destroying the 49ers. I was like, oh, my God, my daughter's going to be named Jalen. Oh, my God, my daughter's going to be named Jalen. It did not come to fruition. I feel like I'm kind of sort of at fault for the reason the Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl. So if everybody wants to attack me for the reason why we don't have a second ring, it's perfect. No, don't attack me. Attack my wife. But
yes, please find Tyre's wife.
It's not that hard to find it. Trust me. But anyway, I'm just saying. But yeah, that's my story. My daughter was almost named after Jalen Hurts.
That is so funny, dude. I love that. Okay, last question with that. How were you going to spell it? Would it be Jalen?
Yes, it was going to be spelled exactly like that.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I love that. Okay, so here's what I want to do too. Is like if you're one of those people out there that like, friend, family, pet, whatever it is, named after an Eagles player, please tell us that story and who it's named after. So you can hit us on the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, get in there. BellandTheBirdmen.com is how you can do it. Twitter @BellandTheBird, Instagram @BellandTheBird. Just hit us with it because I think that stuff is so funny and there's a million stories out there. And the funniest is there's so many Carsons out there.
First off, do you know how many
Knicks to acknowledge?
How many Knicks are out there because of that Super Bowl?
Yeah. Oh, they've got to be a million Knicks out there. So give us all those stories. We totally want to hear those things. We also want to hear you shout out our friends at Liquid Death. It's been happening a ton. The stuff's amazing, man. Like I have a case of Buried Alive, which I'm sorry for Turbo Mike, who thinks it's a terrible flavor. More for me. I just keep downing case after case of this whenever I take it home. Like I stop by. So it gets shipped to our other. We have a studio in media. Right now we're here at the Pyramid Club. That's where we're recording today. So we kind of have two studios. Whenever I go into the media studio, I just take a case home. It's just there, which is beautiful. And like I just drink the whole thing in 2 days. I mean, I'm not even kidding. Like I will legitimately, I'll just pound the stuff. So I'm addicted to it. I think it's great. You mix it with all sorts of stuff. I know Taylor likes the lime, little tequila. That's what he's all about. He's nodding his head. So liquiddeath.com/Bell. That's how you can go find where it's located near you. Also, if you just want a casual enema, you can go do that. So that's what liquidbell.com/Bell. If you want to start looking at all the different merch that they've got there, I could use that just for the idea because if my understanding is that you don't eat for a little while before you get one. So I could, after a vacation, I was piling on. There was a lot of seafood, so I didn't put on like an absurd amount of weight, but I put on a couple pounds. I could take a day off.
Eventually, you were able to put pants on. That's all that counts, all right? When you come back from a vacation, as long as you can put your pants on, you're perfectly fine.
And it's tight, but they're there.
There you go. That's all that matters. You might not have to wear a belt, but it's all good.
That's right. So now we're cutting it down slowly but surely over the next couple of weeks. I got to get back to fighting weight. So Yeah, with that, just want to say thanks to everybody for listening. It's good to be back, Tyre. It's good. This is our first show, like full co-host together. This is cool.
This is our first show. Me and John almost came to blows last week. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. No, but it's great to have you here. We're super excited. We've gotten great response from everybody. So plenty of good stuff ahead, everybody. So thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you.